Here I am, going all seasonal. I did the pumpkin spiced ale, which I really liked actually. And then after that, I thought, well, it's coming around Christmas, winter time. Come up with something that kind of fits that. I usually like the winter ales, so I thought, what can I come up with? And I thought, well, I love maple. I'm from Canada, and I also like butter tarts around this time. So I thought, oh, is there such thing? Maple butter tart, sounds good. So what I did was, some people are gonna hate me for this, maybe. I went on Chatgpt, and I use AI for stuff that I do at work, and I know there's a lot of people that are like anti-AI. I just thought, well, I'll give it a try. So I typed in, I just said, hey, I told Chatgpt, provide a recipe for a Canadian maple butter tart ale for my 35-liter Brewzilla. I would like to end up with about 25 liters of beer. So it came up with this recipe. It kind of came out as a dessert beer, and I agree, I admit it, it sounds really sweet. One thing I noticed, it calls for 50 grams of lactose. You don't need to look at this whole thing because I didn't go with this recipe. So I just said, well, what if it wasn't like a dessert beer? What if it was a little bit more like an everyday beer? What would you do? So I took the lactose out, reduced some of the additions of maple syrup and sugar and things like that. This is the recipe I ended up going with. Originally, it didn't have some of these things, but I did ask, what if I wanted to have a little bit of a raisin flavor? Is that possible? Because I like my butter tarts with raisins. And that's when it suggested Special B. And then I asked, what about head retention? Because I'm always kind of thinking that my beers aren't good for that. So it did suggest also 250 grams of carapils. I don't know how you pronounce that, but I do add now a Whirlfloc tablet at 10 minutes left in the boil. And in my water, I add a Camden tablet. But one thing you don't want to add is the little twist tie for the grains, original bag of grains that I had. You see, it's going to be one of the highest percentage beers that I have made. This one says 6.2. Now I know doing this way with Chatgpt it's not like I think this is the way to go. I'm not at a stage where I can make recipes. I don't really understand what you use and for what purpose. So I just thought I'd give this a try. And even if I was kind of like double checking some of the different things that it suggested, but I also just wanted to try this and see, like, could this actually work? Will it give me a good beer just by going what they suggest? So I went with that. So one thing I noticed during the mash, while it was circulating, I was checking it every once in a while, and it was like way at the top. Like it was like the liquid was way at the top. Like it couldn't get any higher without overflowing in the Brewzilla. And I was like, what is going on here? I've never experienced this before. And then I thought, all these thoughts going in my head, something must have been wrong with the calculations. Obviously there's something wrong here. I shouldn't have used AI, but I kept going with it because what else am I gonna do? So I don't know what was going on with that because I started thinking, oh great, the gravity's reading, it's gonna be way off. And then I did the sparge and that was draining really slow. And so that took a while, and I was, it felt like every time I poured water in, it wasn't like really draining as much as possible. So again, I started thinking, something's wrong here too. But finally, I just waited, I was patient, I just waited and took the grain out, and then I did a gravity. I used the hydrometer, did the reading, and it actually came out 1058 or something like that, 1060. And so I thought, well, okay, well then maybe it is okay. So I just went ahead. When I first started, I would just sit and watch it boil the whole time, but now, nah, I think I would go play a few games. So the boil's starting, and at this point I add in the hops. And at that point I prepare the maple syrup. And at the same time, I also make sure that my fermenter's ready. While it's boiling, you may as well do that. So I got a good boil going on here. So here we are at 10 minutes left in the boil. I'm putting in the brown sugar and the maple syrup, and this is when I add the wort flock tablet. So I don't know if adding the maple syrup during the boil is useful, but that's what it called for. And once that's done, then I started chilling. This is the crappiest hose you can get. Don't buy these garden hoses. It's all like, you can't even get the thing straight anymore. It's so annoying. But anyways, here's my little chilling system. It takes me about, I don't know, 25 minutes to chill, I think. I use a little whirlpool arm to circulate it, and that helps, I think. That definitely helps get it down faster. And once that's down, I wait till it's down to about 18 Celsius. And by the way, I tried this back when I did the test with the hydrometer. I ended up leaving that in the hydrometer, and I tasted it, and damn, that was nice. I was like, everything else I've tasted out of the hydrometer tastes like not very nice, but this was actually surprisingly good. And this didn't have any of this was just after the mash. So it didn't have any sugar or sweetness added to it, but just with the grains, it was actually tasting pretty sweet. Kind of made me wonder if this was gonna be any good, but there we are, pitching the yeast, and then I add in my little wrapped pill. I really like this thing. Constantly checking it though, it's like a little addictive, just checking. Once it starts fermenting, I'm just constantly checking it. And there you go. So here we are. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Already cracked. I go through so many broken glasses in this house. These are brand new, chipped. This one's tiny chip on it. Anyway, okay, here we go. I got 2 kegs here. Because the first one, this is the first 10-liter batch that I took out of the fermenter. And well, as usual, when I first taste them, like really, really early, after like most of the fermentation's done, I just can't help it. And I do a little taste out of the Firmzilla, and I didn't think that it tasted very good. So I was worried. And it came out higher than I thought, 6.8%. Strongest beer that I've made. Everything else has been barely over 5. Turns out it tasted pretty good, but it's got like a little bit of a interesting aftertaste. Nothing wrong. It's just hard to really describe. Wasn't really no real maple flavor. But I did have this over Christmas with some family, and I took the keg over for the first time and tried it, and some people were really liking it, and I liked it too. Just had to not drink so many of them because I can't drink like these stronger beers as much. But so for the first one, it's just how it came out, and I didn't, in the recipe, it was calling for some vanilla bean, and I didn't have any. So I just added like I think a tablespoon of vanilla extract to this. Afterwards, tasting this, I was just curious. So I thought, I'll get this Brewer's Best natural flavoring, maple. And maybe I'll add it to the other keg. And so I did. The problem with this stuff is you can't really tell how much to add. And look, it looks like I added quite a bit. I had this keg and then two 2-liter little mini kegs, growler keg things. I probably added a little too much of this. So now the beer tastes like, I tested it. I haven't really had much of this one at all. So I'll kind of be testing both of them. So let's go with this one. And I got this new, what do you call these? Nukatap Mini. And this is supposed to control the flow. And I've been getting really good pours out of this because I know it's been something that I never have been good at. But again, now I haven't had any of this. I haven't been saving this keg until, it took me a long time. Sorry. It took me a long time to do this video. and finally got a chance to do it. And I'm gonna, in the middle of the day, drinking these beers. And I haven't had one in a while because I didn't want to drink it all before I did this test. And I don't know how it's gonna pour out, but let's just see. I see a little, so you can restrict the, you see, it's typical, same as always. But don't worry, I had it really good because you can restrict the flow with this. And it was pouring out perfectly. So I just disregard this. It's like every time it's like this with me, but I almost want to re-pour that, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna let that settle. Now I'll pour this one. Same thing though. I have just had this in the fridge. I've got a little cartridge of CO2 hooked up to it, and I don't really know how it's gonna pour. Now that's coming out. I do have to say, this thing I really like. It's a little flimsy, but once you get once you get that dialed in, it's really nice. Pours perfectly. I've been using this with either the tank or a little CO2 cartridge I got on this one, and it's been working really good. I like it better than using this stupid picnic tap thing. So anyways, let's go with this. See, now I don't get very clear beers, but it is what it is. Let's taste this. Oh, yeah. See, this basically just tastes like it's like a nice, strong winter ale. And I'm just gonna call it, even though I wouldn't go out and say this is a maple butter tart ale, brown ale or whatever, because no one's gonna taste that. So, but considering I went with maple and butter tart. Butter tart is Canadian, maple, we got a maple leaf on our flag. So Canadian winter ale is what I've been calling this. Can't argue with that. And I really can't argue with that. So now, before this goes, now I'm gonna try this one. This is the one that I added. So now I added some vanilla extract into the keg when I kegged to this one, just a little bit, tablespoon maybe. This one I did. It's a 6 liter. I added less, obviously, but I think it was a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a teaspoon of this maple flavoring. And the maple comes out pretty strong. But still good. It's like I'm saying to myself, I think I'd put a little bit less maple in there, but then you do want to taste it. But you also don't want it to be so much where you can be like, well, we'll never buy a 6-pack of this. Just gonna open the door for my cat. So I'm pounding back 2 beers here. My wife and daughter are gonna come back and I'm gonna be kind of drunk in the middle of the day. But I think it's better without. I would probably still put a little bit in, but it's really hard to know how much to put in. So I'd put probably like 1 teaspoon into this 10-liter keg. Because this is still kind of like coming off like a dessert beer. You'd be like drinking this at night, not wanting too many of them. Whereas this one, yeah, this one tastes like you don't usually go to the pub and get a beer that tastes exactly like maple pancakes or something. Last time, the other day, I went and bought this pumpkin pie milkshake IPA because I saw it and I'm like, oh, gotta try that. Gotta compare it with my pumpkin one. Side by side, I know it's an IPA, it's different, but I drank it. I could not tell any kind of pumpkin pie flavoring, pumpkin nothing. Whereas mine, you could taste it. And then sometimes when you go to the pub and you have beers, they'll have these things like this. You drink them. You're like, wow, this is called the maple butter tart ale. I guess so. You can't taste it though. So maybe this one would be that. Because people would be like, not gonna take it back. Excuse me, sir. I don't taste any maple or butter tart in this. No one's gonna do that. So I think the best way to do this would be probably what was in the recipe is, added the vanilla bean. That's expensive though, and I didn't know where to get it. So probably still wouldn't do that. Maybe just add the extract. I got good extract. Put it in there. So a tablespoon of extract in there. I don't know if I'll even do the maple. I wouldn't probably do the maple. Damn, after comparing these, I think this is way better. And I took this one to work to give to some guys. I kind of wish I took that one. Like, I still liked it. But you're getting definite dessert beer thing going on with this one. Whereas this one, so what I did was, what I might actually do is put the rest of this keg, this is risky, but if I put the rest of this keg into what's left of this and mix the two, then you're getting kind of the best of both. Because if I did that, and I'm gonna fill this a little bit up with this one and see what we got. Yeah, that's nice. These are still pretty strong though. It's like, I couldn't probably drink too many of these. I mean, but it's like you go out, you'll have like a couple like real hefty beers, couple winter ales, and then after a couple of those, you're like, I gotta settle it down a little bit. Maybe just go with like a regular pale ale or something. I think that's kind of what these are like. These are like, you could probably tell that it's hitting me. That's good though. And I was dehydrated before I started this, so drinking these like I'm Just came back from the desert. And then that's when I get like these headaches. I get like these when I'm dehydrated and I'm drinking. Does anyone else get this? You get like the neck pain. And then I feel like I'm getting a hangover before I'm even going to bed. Like I'm getting a hangover while I'm drinking. It's ridiculous. So what happens when you start getting older? 21 younger watching this. I know you probably think I'm only about 35 years old, but a little bit older than that. What do you guys think of this kind of stuff? Like, I don't really want to be adding this kind of stuff in there because when I do, I kind of feel like I'm just kind of cheating. I don't know. What do you think? But anyways, check this recipe out. Look at this recipe that I did for this. Tell me what you think. Holy shit. I don't think she likes it when I do these videos. You can hear her running around upstairs. She doesn't like when I have a third beer. It's 2.5 really. I don't even know if it's 2.5 because I don't fill these up completely. It's like 2 beers. But anyway, somewhere in between these 2 beers is a good beer. And that's looking pretty good. See, the way it's coming out of this now, look at that. So one other thing that bothers me is when I pour it out, you know, and it looks like the bubbles on it kind of just look like bubbles from like just bubbles that you'd get from anything. Not like this. That looks like a beer. It doesn't look like, you know, just like a bubbly, like a drink that had bubbles in it. I'm not sure if I should. See, the thing is, this one I don't enjoy it. I do enjoy it, but not as much. This one, much more enjoyable. Do I dare? I could probably just transfer the small keg into this one, mix it, and have something that I like. I think I'm gonna do it. Why not? Why not? Can't be that bad because I'd still drink this one. So even if it mixed, I'd still drink this one anyway. So I'm gonna be drinking. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And the verdict is combining the kegs was the best option. It tastes sweet. I mean, no, it tastes awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I recommend it. Just got to figure out the right amount of maple.